Hello there, it's me, Ghost Critic. It's Thursday, and with the internet back, I can finally do a review show. And no, I'm not going to review fully last week's comics. They've been and gone, we enjoyed them. I gave you a brief bit in my vlog of Sunday. So now on to new comics that I picked up yesterday, and there was a bit of a stack. Hopefully this video won't go on too long. But just in case, press pause now, make yourself a cup of tea, crack open a bottle of beer, sit down and relax. Ah, you're back. Right, straight on. There was nothing bad this week. I do have a pick of the week, but I'm just going to do it Independence, then DC, and then Marvel. And so we go with this first. It's a new #1 from Image, and it's called Revival. I had read a little bit about this somewhere, and it kind of piqued my interest. And I thought, well, is this really just going to be another kind of zombie book? I don't think it is. It's classed as, well, it says here, a rural noir by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. I'm not quite sure what rural noir means. But what we have is a small town in Wisconsin that has been cordoned off from the rest of America due to revivers. This is what they're calling these people. These are, I'm guessing, recently deceased who have actually risen from the dead. But it's not the risen from the dead zombie, I'm out for your brains, though there is plenty of kind of violence involved with these revivers. We have our main character, which is Officer Cypress. This is the lady on the front of the cover, and she is investigating well, what appears to be the killing of a kind of horse-zebra hybrid that apparently people kind of breed over there in America. I've never heard of it myself. And it's a bit of a kind of a mystery, I guess, in some weird way, a kind of murder story. And it's basically, you know, who's killed this zebra horse hybrid. I was quite intrigued by it, and I think I'm definitely going to be giving issue 2 a go. It might be the next kind of Walking Dead-esque to come out of Image. You do get the feeling with comics like these now that, and I found this a lot when I was reading a lot of fiction, kind of contemporary fiction of now, that as I was reading it I'm thinking, you're writing this and looking for a TV deal as well. I get that kind of momentum and kind of story characterization from it, which isn't such a bad thing, but just tell the story as it should be told within a comic book medium. Don't look any further than that so soon, but I think that's the road we're kind of going down these days. Still a great, interesting title, piqued my interest. There's some very weird bits in here. I think you need to read it. I don't want to spoil a lot of this for you, but there's some weirdness going on as well. I really like this. Go and pick it up today. Issue 1 finally came out of Hoax Hunters. This is basically the show that tries to debunk what they actually know is true and hide it from the American public. Issue 0 came out so far behind, I just thought I'd missed out on issue 1 and wasn't too bothered. Looking at the preview that was in the back of issue 0, the artwork had changed drastically, and I wasn't sure whether I was going to be up for this dramatic change in style of the book. I kind of forgot about it after a while and eased into the story, although the story kind of drags on a bit. We're in the Louisiana swamps and everything's dying. Yes, there's alligators, there's snakes, there's birds, there's all sorts of animals, and they're all just lying in the swamp dead. Can't really see how. They just seem to have, you know, toppled over and died. So our team have gone in to investigate, and it's very X-Files, kind of walking around woods in the dark with torches, and some big monster, you know, turns up. I don't know about this title. It didn't grab me. It reminded me of too many other things for it to be original and making me want to get the next issue. Maybe if I see it next month on the shelf and it's a light week, I may try the next issue, but at the moment I wouldn't rush out to buy it. What have we got? Issue 11 of season 9 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we start a new storyline called Guarded Part 1. And what we have here basically is Buffy's kind of dilemma, in that she's torn between being a slayer and this new role of her training to be a bodyguard. Yes, if you remember the character Kennedy, which was Willow's ex-girlfriend, Kennedy has taken up all these kind of slayers that have basically nothing to do now, given that Buffy killed the seed with all the magic in and everything. She's, as Buffy says, gone corporate. She's taken all the slayers and hiring them out basically as bodyguards, and Kennedy's in charge. Buffy is now taking orders, which I don't think she's too happy about, and mistakes are made. Buffy sees monsters, ghosts them, while, you know, something's going on or looking quite harmless in the other direction. So she messes up at this job and doubts her kind of abilities to be this bodyguard, and really her heart's there in being a slayer. So when she jumps out to go and be a slayer in the evening, well, the police force now have as what are they called now? Zompires. These zombie vampires that are plaguing the city. The police have got this squad now that go out and dust these zompires. So Buffy's kind of been made redundant there too. And then we find out who her client is to be a bodyguard for at the end, and the company Wolfram and Hart is mentioned right at the end. So there is something interesting to look forward to, I guess. To be honest, I'm disappointed with Buffy at the moment. I'm kind of with Willow here. I'm a bit pissed that she destroyed the seed with all this magic in, because it's not as much fun. Don't even see any of the other Scoobies anymore. I mean, where is Willow? We hardly see Xander or Dawn. Spike's out the picture now, and we're left with Buffy doing pretty mundane things now. There isn't even that much humour. The humorous element that kind of always goes through Buffy, it seems very stretched out, very mundane. I really need this book to, you know, hoist itself up and do something big and dramatic, or, you know, season 9 could be my last Buffy issues. Finally, for the Independents, and in its final part of its 6-issue series, we've got David Hine and Shaky Kane's The Bulletproof Coffin Disinterred. I I've had a great time with this series, I really have, and I'm very disappointed to see this go. I'm sure the two will bring this back again with even more weird and wonderful and experimental ways of telling a story. But I was a little disappointed with this last issue. I really wanted it to go out with a huge bang and do just something completely crazy. And it's not that there's not craziness in this. This felt very much like it's like a Twilight Zone episode, but on like copious amounts of acid. But there was just, I don't know, maybe it was just like the sudden ending that just seemed to stop, and it all kind of left it open, which in some regards is a good thing, because then you think, there's going to be another series somewhere down the line, so we will be getting more Bulletproof Coffin, maybe. But I don't know. Given the rest of the series and the playfulness, the psychedelicness of these issues previous to them, and what they've done with the genres they were doing like a homage to, this felt left a bit flat. But as a whole series, Bulletproof Coffin has impressed immensely, and once this all gets bundled up in one big trade, please go out and pick this up. You will have the best time. On to DC. We have only 2 comics on DC actually this week. Issue 11 of Batman and Robin, and Damian is out to prove himself the best Robin again. This time he's taking on Jason Todd, and oh well, Jason Todd for Damian really is quite easy to provoke. We just go down the Joker road. I have a feeling that despite the fact that, I don't think I'm spoiling too much here, but yes, Damian wins again. I've got a feeling by the end of this run, by the end of him taking on each Robin, which I think he will win each fight in however ways he does it, I think all the other Robins are going to get together, have a huge master plan, and really put Damian in his place. At least I hope they do that. Damian, cocky as ever, but it's fun to read at the same time. Also going on is Terminus and his bad guys. They are going throughout Gotham City, branding everyone they can find with a symbol of the Batman. And I'm not just talking putting a sticker on their lapel. We're talking, you know, branding a cow branding. And it's not a pretty sight. There's a very weird bit at the end. Batman seems to appear a little bit desperate, and he's just shouting out at the city of Gotham, hoping that these villains will hear him, you know, not even taunting them, because there's too much desperation in his voice for this to be menacing in any way, but he's trying to call them out and face him for a big showdown. This part of the story, it's exciting enough. It's not wham right in your face. It's nothing that you're going to talk about for a couple of weeks later, but it still moves along. It's entertaining enough. I much prefer Damian taking on the Robins, which I really didn't think he would. And that phone better stop, because I'm not answering it. So sorry about the sound of that. It will stop. On to the epic finale of Court of the Owls, and it's issue 11, and it certainly was epic. It was tense, it was action-packed, it was very, very exciting. But Snyder does that age-old trick. Is he or isn't he? And they leave it so up in the air. We have the huge fight between Lincoln Marsh and Batman, and it goes, you know, from the orphanage throughout the skyline of Gotham and ends up in the tower that Bruce Wayne was going to build as a kind of a tribute to Gotham, but really he was using it as another kind of secret hideout to watch over Gotham. But the fight scenes, the to and fro and the banter is very exciting. You are kind of on the edge of your seat as you're reading it, and the artwork, as always, by Capullo, very detailed, very exciting, very dynamic. The end sees Bruce and Dick having their kind of heart-to-heart talk, and Bruce, you know, finally coming to the conclusion that, you know, Gotham isn't about the Batman, it isn't about the Court of Owls, it's about everybody. Ah, it was a little bit sappy at the end, but you know, there was heart in it, and that's what you get from Snyder. You get passion, heart, and just commitment from him. He wants to tell the best story he possibly can, and he certainly did here. The backup story finishing off the fall of the House of Wayne, something like that, again fills in little gaps in the sense of backing up certain things that were said in the main Batman storyline, and again still leaving us thinking, well, is he, isn't he, escaped, taken in by the owls, was he, wasn't he? Is it all a big head messed up thing? Great issue, always top of the pile, but not pick of the week. On to Marvel. I had to. I wasn't going to, but I saw it. It's Space Punisher. Oh, look. There's just nowhere around it. This is just fun, over-the-top, violent, sci-fi nonsense. It's in no continuity whatsoever. This is just a fun story by Thierry and Texeria on artwork, where Frank is after some intergalactic mafia. It's interesting who this intergalactic mafia's heads of are. You've got some member of the Brood, Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Magneto, Red Skull, and Ultron, and the Space Punisher is out to you know, kill them, to disband this intergalactic mafia. It was just fun. You'll read this, you'll have a big smile on your face. It's not heavy, it's not going to tax your brain at all, but you will have fun and enjoy it. And that's all you really want out of a comic that has Punisher and space in the title. On to Wolverine and the X-Men issue 13. Forget that it's got an A versus X banner on the top. Forget that Wolverine doesn't even appear in this comic once. Forget that they really shouldn't have bothered putting this Phoenix cover on with Gladiator. Forget the big battle between Gladiator and the Phoenix Five. This isn't what this comic is about, and what makes it so good. We get a really kind of, I want to say sweet, but it's not. It's a really poignant story about Warbird. And Warbird is the kind of governess, I guess you'd call her, or bodyguard for Kid Gladiator. And it's kind of where she came from, where she started from, how she made it to where she is now as the kind of bodyguard for Kid Gladiator, and her deep, dark secret, which to us seems almost, well, what's the big deal? But given the background that she is from, it is very much frowned upon, her secret. I just found this issue and the kind of history and kind of the characterisation of Warbird just so endearing, and coupled with Bradshaw's art on here, it was just a really great comic. It's just a shame it was all tied up with this A versus X gubbins rubbish, but it's over soon, isn't it? Tell me it's over soon. Issue 14, Ultimate Comics X-Men, and oh thank God Brian Wood's on here now. Really, Brian Wood, all he is doing here is DMZ for mutants. It's so reminiscent of his Vertigo title on DC of DMZ. We have the States of America all kind of split up now, some being taken over by the Nimrod Super Sentinels, some that are just like independent states, and some still being held on by the government. But basically America is in disarray because of this. Mutants are, well, no longer hated and feared, they are marked for execution. The thing is well and truly pointed at mutants for this whole thing. But what's so great about this issue is it's really Kitty's inner monologue of her dealing with being what she is essentially going to be the head of this mutant revolution that's going to put down these Sentinel Nimrods that are going to save the name of the mutant race, and the pressures and the responsibilities that she has to take on, the sacrifices. It was just so well laid down by Brian Wood. I'm so glad I stayed on for this. It was almost going to be dropped, but as soon as Brian Wood hit, it got so much better. Love this. And so finally, not as long as I thought I was going to be, but pick of the week. And oh, it was a goodie. Uncanny XForce issue 27. Whew, a lot happens, and I really don't want to spoil a lot of this for you, but basically we've got the sacrifice of a team member for another. Death abounds in this issue, and by the end of the this particular tale, you just wonder if there's any team left for issue 28. We have the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants all coming together finally, and they are a scary, scary bunch, and it just does not look good. A very big favourite X-Men character of mine could be dead. The artwork by Noto, it's good. It's good. It's not kind of like early Uncanny XForce good, but it's still in keeping with this very dark, very violent, very evil title. So I'm happy with him for, I presume it's a him, whoops, to stay on the title. Remender is really messing things up and keeping us on our toes on this issue, and I just couldn't wait to keep turning the page over to see what was going to happen. Is someone going to survive? How can they do this to one of my favourite ex-characters? But it's definitely my pick of the week. It definitely hit the mark for me above really everything else, although there wasn't really a bad issue in the pile this week. And so that's it. Whew. If it's your first time here, subscribe button is up there. Let's see if I get it right this week. If you liked it, give it a thumb up. If you want to leave a comment, there's a box down there. I'd love to hear what you thought of the issues I picked up this week. And what else did you pick up that you thought I might be interested in? Given now Bulletproof Coffin has gone, so I've got the opportunity to pick something else up. And I hear Incredible Hulk finishes on issue 15. What? Anyway, that's me out. I shall see you next week. I'll probably see you at the weekend. I've got a lot of filming to do. Bye bye.